The laughter echoed through the grand ballroom so loudly that even the musicians stopped playing for a heartbeat. Every guest turned to stare as a single father in a neatly pressed janitor's uniform stood frozen beside the glittering gift table, holding a small, carefully wrapped wooden box. Then came the cruel words that seemed to cut through the air sharper than glass. A wealthy woman looked at his humble present, smiled with open contempt, and mocked him in front of hundreds of influential guests, asking if he had truly believed such a gift belonged among diamonds, luxury watches, and designer treasures. The room filled with awkward laughter, cameras quietly lifted, and no one imagined that within the next few moments, the very gift everyone laughed at would silence the entire celebration forever. If you believe kindness is stronger than pride, forgiveness is greater than revenge, and hope can change even the hardest hearts, please take a moment to like this video, leave a thoughtful comment, share this story with someone who needs encouragement today, and subscribe to our channel so our community can continue sharing emotional journeys that remind us humanity is never measured by wealth. Colton Reeves had never expected to attend a party filled with millionaires. Most mornings began before sunrise as he unlocked the maintenance doors of the prestigious Ashcroft Grand Hotel, where polished marble floors reflected crystal chandeliers and expensive shoes walked over them without ever noticing the man who kept everything spotless. He worked harder than anyone noticed because his entire world waited at home in the form of his 8-year-old daughter, Elodie. Since losing his wife to an unexpected illness 4 years earlier, every decision he made revolved around giving his little girl a peaceful life, even if it meant sacrificing every personal dream he once carried. Colton never complained. He repaired broken lights before guests noticed them, cleaned impossible stains before events began, and stayed late whenever emergencies appeared. Many employees respected him because they knew he quietly covered extra shifts for coworkers struggling with illness or family problems. Few guests ever learned his name. To them he was simply another uniform blending into the background. Several weeks before the party, the hotel's elderly owner, Theodore Ashcroft, had surprised everyone by announcing his retirement celebration. Invitations reached politicians, business leaders, celebrities, and respected philanthropists. Employees were invited too, although few planned to attend because they felt out of place among society's elite. Theodore insisted every staff member mattered equally because the hotel had only succeeded through everyone's dedication. Colton hesitated. He owned only one suit, worn at his wedding years earlier. It no longer fit comfortably, and buying another was impossible after paying school expenses and medical bills for Elodie. He decided to attend wearing his clean maintenance uniform because it represented the honest work that had supported his family through life's darkest seasons. The greater problem was the gift. Everyone whispered about extravagant presents worth thousands of dollars. Colton could barely afford groceries that week. Still, Elodie refused to let her father arrive empty-handed. She believed gratitude mattered more than money. Together they searched through an old wooden chest that had belonged to Colton's late grandfather, a gifted craftsman who had carved beautiful keepsakes by hand. Inside rested a small unfinished walnut music box. Its surface carried delicate carvings of oak trees surrounding a family standing together beneath spreading branches. Colton spent every evening after work carefully sanding rough edges, polishing the wood, replacing tiny gears, and restoring the mechanism. Elodie painted a tiny message inside the lid with patient little hands. The message simply read, "A strong home is built by the people who quietly care for it every day." Neither father nor daughter imagined how important those words would become. Bright morning sunlight poured through towering ballroom windows as guests arrived wearing elegant designer clothing. Crystal decorations sparkled beneath daylight streaming across polished floors. Luxury gift boxes piled high upon velvet-covered tables, each wrapped with elaborate ribbons. Colton entered quietly carrying his simple package wrapped in plain brown paper tied with blue string. Some employees smiled warmly at him. Others looked away, embarrassed by his modest appearance. A successful socialite named Vanessa Caldwell noticed him immediately. Vanessa had built her reputation around appearances. Every photograph, every conversation, every charitable donation seemed carefully designed to impress others. She believed success deserved admiration and poverty reflected failure. When she spotted Colton placing his humble gift beside expensive presents, she laughed loudly enough to attract attention. Within moments, nearby conversations stopped. People turned. Phones appeared. Vanessa picked up the small package, examining it with exaggerated amusement before making the remark that filled the ballroom with uncomfortable laughter. She wondered aloud whether someone earning a janitor's salary actually believed such a gift belonged beside priceless jewelry and luxury collectibles. Colton's face flushed with quiet embarrassment. He reached for the package without anger. He simply hoped to avoid disrupting Theodore's celebration. Years of hardship had taught him that dignity often meant walking away instead of fighting back. Before he could retrieve the gift, Theodore Ashcroft himself approached. The elderly businessman had witnessed everything. Instead of accepting one of the enormous jeweled boxes offered by influential guests, Theodore gently asked for Colton's small package. Silence settled over the ballroom. Everyone watched as Theodore carefully untied the blue string instead of tearing the wrapping apart. His fingers paused the instant he opened the lid. The tiny music box began playing a soft melody. Its warm notes floated gently through the enormous hall, replacing awkward whispers with peaceful stillness. Theodore stared at the carved trees. Then he noticed Elodie's handwritten message. His eyes filled with tears. Few people understood why. More than 50 years earlier, Theodore's own father had built the original Ashcroft Grand Hotel with carpenters, cleaners, cooks, gardeners, receptionists, and maintenance workers standing beside him every single day. Before opening the hotel, Theodore's father had carved almost identical trees into a wooden plaque hanging inside the original construction office. Beneath those trees he had written nearly the same sentence. A strong home is built by the people who quietly care for it every day. The old plaque had disappeared decades earlier during renovations. Theodore believed it had been lost forever. Holding Colton's restored music box felt like hearing his father's voice again after half a century. Tears rolled freely down Theodore's cheeks. He closed the lid gently before walking directly toward Colton. Without saying anything, the elderly businessman embraced the stunned janitor in front of everyone. Hundreds of guests stood speechless. The cameras that had expected humiliation instead captured something unforgettable. Theodore explained that every expensive gift celebrated his wealth. Only one gift celebrated the people who had built his life's work. He announced that Colton's present was the most meaningful gift he had received all day because it reminded him that buildings become homes only through ordinary people performing extraordinary acts of quiet dedication. Vanessa's confident smile disappeared. For the first time in years, she realized admiration could not be purchased. Theodore then asked Colton to join him on stage. The audience expected polite recognition. Instead, Theodore revealed something nobody knew. Several months earlier he had secretly reviewed years of employee records while preparing retirement plans. Again and again one name appeared beside acts of generosity that never reached management reports. Colton had donated vacation days to sick coworkers, repaired damaged equipment without requesting overtime, secretly paid cafeteria bills for struggling employees, and even organized collections to help families after emergencies without asking for credit. Theodore admitted that true leadership often hides beneath ordinary uniforms. He announced that a charitable foundation honoring his late parents would begin under Colton's guidance as community care director, ensuring hotel employees facing hardship would always receive support. The ballroom erupted into heartfelt applause. Many employees cried openly. Colton stood speechless. He had never dreamed his quiet acts mattered beyond helping people one day at a time. The greatest surprise waited outside. Theodore invited everyone into the bright afternoon sunshine where a newly restored community learning center stood across from the hotel. Its entrance displayed a carved wooden plaque inspired by Colton's gift. The inscription reminded every visitor that kindness performed without expectation becomes the strongest foundation any community can build. Reporters rushed forward expecting business announcements. Instead, newspapers the following morning featured photographs of a janitor embracing an elderly businessman while guests applauded around them. Across the city, thousands shared the story. People weren't inspired by wealth. They were inspired by humility. Vanessa spent many sleepless days replaying the moment she had mocked someone whose heart proved richer than her own. Embarrassment slowly became reflection. Reflection became change. Several weeks later she quietly visited the community learning center during the daytime. Without cameras or publicity, she volunteered to help renovate classrooms for struggling children. When she finally met Colton again, she offered a sincere apology that carried no excuses. Colton accepted it with gentle grace because bitterness had never been part of his character. He believed forgiveness frees both the one receiving it and the one giving it. Life slowly transformed. Elodie proudly visited the learning center after school, smiling every time she heard the little music box displayed safely inside a glass case near the entrance. Visitors often asked why such a simple wooden box occupied the building's most honored place. The answer never changed. Because its value had never been measured by money. It represented love created with patient hands, sacrifice offered without recognition, and gratitude expressed from a heart that refused to believe poverty could prevent generosity. Years passed, but new employees continued hearing the story during orientation. Not as a fairy tale. Not as a legend. But as a reminder that every cleaner, gardener, receptionist, cook, technician, and maintenance worker deserved the same respect as executives sitting in corner offices. Whenever Theodore spoke publicly before his retirement ended, he often repeated one lesson. The strongest foundations are never built by the loudest voices. They are built by quiet people who choose kindness when nobody is watching. Before we finish this story, we'd love to hear from you. Please leave a meaningful comment telling us what touched your heart the most, and share a moment when someone's kindness proved far more valuable than money or appearances. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. Remember, life has a remarkable way of revealing true character. Expensive gifts may impress people for a moment, but a humble heart, honest work, and genuine compassion can leave a legacy that shines long after wealth, status, and applause have faded away. Sometimes the smallest package carries the greatest treasure, because the most valuable gifts are wrapped not in luxury, but in love.